Hola amigos y amigas, you are now with Jocelyn, and first and foremost, welcome to all my new subscribers. I gained quite a few subscribers in the month of April. Oh my goodness, time is flying this year. But yeah, I gained a bunch of new subscribers, the most that I've gained in a month. So I'm so grateful that you are here and that you took an interest in following my channel and having my content pop up on your feed. My intention for all that I create and share with you is to genuinely just spread goodness and enlightenment and self-awareness and inspiration in the world. So I pray to fulfill that. But yeah, and if you just stumbled upon this video and you are new here, welcome. This is my weekly energy reading that I have genuinely really been enjoying doing every single week and sharing with you all. If there's ever a time where I just don't spiritually feel like I'm in the right space to do a reading, I'm not gonna do it, I'm not gonna force it, but so far so good. And yeah, this energy reading is for us to this energy reading is intended to receive and relay messages that help us understand what the overall energy for this week to come is going to be and how we can best navigate it as our higher selves, as the best possible version of ourselves. So I really intend for this reading to be affirmational and to focus on our higher selves, on self-improvement, self-development, self-love, self-care, and whatever it is that comes up in the messages. I am so honored to be receiving these messages. I have already cleansed my space and my decks and myself, so we are ready to go. Let's go ahead and take a deep breath together because I'm feeling called to do that. So let's get on the same breath. Deep inhale and exhale. Yes. I always like to fix my posture whenever I take deep breaths and just become more conscious and in tune with my body. But before we get started, I just want to say that this video is completely unedited. I mean, I'm receiving these messages as they come. So if there is any noise in the background, I apologize in advance. I do live in the city, but we are going to allow life to happen around us and remain centered throughout the reading. So let's go ahead and get started. For the week to come, what is the overall energy for the week to come? What is the overall energy for the week to come? What is the overall energy for the week to come? Okay, so it's one of those weeks. I love this card. We got the Trader, and essentially the Trader emphasizes exchanges of energy, because in exchanging energy, we are cultivating abundance. That is one reason why I personally love doing workshops where we set intentions and express gratitude, and just are very open about the things that we want, the things that we are desiring to heal. Because when you exchange energy by writing something down, by sharing it with a friend, by expressing an idea out loud, by speaking it, by giving it some form of action and sharing it in the world, you are already giving it life and you are already calling in abundance. So this is one of those weeks where you want to really be intentional and place attention towards the energy exchanges that you have throughout the week. So, for example, if you are working on an idea that you're really excited about, then you are encouraged to give that idea life, give that idea some abundance by writing the idea down, by starting to brainstorm your action plan for it, by talking to someone that you trust about your idea and just kind of exchanging energy with that person. You know, that's why community is so important and necessary when it comes to building, because everything really does take a team. Like, when you are wanting to manifest more love in your life, yes, of course, you can cultivate more love in your life by giving yourself more self-love. And that in itself, you are exchanging energy with yourself when you are doing it with conscious awareness. But doing it with other people, when there's that energy exchange, like those like really feel good conversations, you know, like when you're like on a high after talking to a friend about some ideas or your visions, your dreams, and it just like has you feeling really good and feeling like you can do it and you're motivated. That is the energy that the trader card really is bringing in this week. So yeah, let's be intentional about our exchanges this week, and be aware that the exchanges that we do have this week are cultivating and creating abundance in our lives. So yeah, what is, should any challenges arise this week, what energy are we recommended to align with? Should any challenges arise this week, what energy should we align with? Should any challenges arise this week, what energy should we align with? So interesting. This deck is, yeah. Okay. I'm picking up that mindfulness is going to be really of huge importance this week. Just being really aware that whatever it is that we give energy towards, whether it's our thoughts, our conversations, our actions, in any way, shape, or form, are going to be cultivated. Let me pull a second card. Should any challenges arise this week, what energy should we align with? Should any challenges arise this week, what energy should we align with? Let's see if another one is trying to make itself known to us. Okay. I think this is a one card every deck reading. Some other readings, some other weekly energy readings, I'll pull 2 cards, sometimes even 3 if I'm feeling called, but this one is feeling like 1 card. And so the card that we got to align the energy that we are being recommended to align with, should any challenges, should any obstacles arise, is to keep potential in mind. How often do you pause when an obstacle or challenge arises in your life and think about the potential that it has? I think so often when something makes us uncomfortable, or when something feels daunting, or when something feels hard, we immediately think about the potentiality of it being a burden in our lives, being something, just a burden, something that we don't want, something that is annoying us, something that makes us irritated, or even instills fear in some way, shape, or form. But this is very much so like the last reading, where we were, I think it was the last one or the one before, where we were encouraged to shift our perception. Shift your perspective of the potentiality of the challenges and obstacles that may arise this coming week. And really give yourself the space to step back and think about the potential that the things entering your life have. So also looking at the imagery, right? We have a volcano, and it seems like it is at rest. It is a starry, peaceful night. But at the end of the day, you know, as calm and as still as the volcano looks, we all know that its potential is to erupt, to explode lava. In what ways have you responded to challenges in your life like a volcano? Yeah, it's so important for us to give ourselves the space this week, because we may be tested, and we need to remind ourselves that we ourselves have the potential to respond to life a little more mindfully. Like I say, like mindfulness just feels like it's going to be of big importance this coming week. But I do want to read more into this potential card. You have a profound spiritual power that is deep within you. Do not doubt your great authority and capabilities. A dormant volcano may indicate that you have uncomfortable emotions that you are repressing or keeping inside, thus creating emotional stress and inner pressure. That's another thing too. Like when we think about the nature of a volcano, the reason why it explodes initially, like the lava when it erupts, is because it has had this buildup for so long, right? So I think that that's something that, again, we need to be mindful of this week, is like, are we reaching that point of eruption in any area of our lives? And, you know, sometimes it takes like one simple little thing that may have nothing to do with the actual reasoning as to why we may be upset or scared or worried or stressed, for us to erupt onto that thing, right? Or that person or that situation, environment. So that's something to ask yourself and reflect on, is just having that check-in with yourself and making sure that you're not reaching that point of eruption that's unhealthy, and seeing if there's anything that you may be suppressing that doesn't serve you and that you need to properly process in a healthy way and exert and flow that energy. Again, just these energy exchanges that are so important. It's so important for us to make sure that our energy is always in flow, and making sure that there are no blockages, because when there are blockages, it affects us in so many ways, mentally, physically, spiritually, personally, professionally. Yeah. Yeah. The other side of this card is, thinking of yourself as like the greatness of the potentiality that you have, that may be sitting within you, that may be sleeping and may be dormant, that you need to awaken. But given the fact that this card came out when I asked what energy we need to align with when it comes to obstacles, I felt more called, like this card is trying to tell us to check in with ourselves before unnecessary eruption. What do we need to surrender? What do we need to surrender this week? Oh. Okay. So it seems like we are definitely being called to check in with ourselves, because we got surrender to setting limits. It is healthy to set boundaries in relationships. Practice expressing your needs and remember that no is a complete sentence. So perhaps some of you need to check in on certain relationships in your life. Could even be the relationship with yourself. And making sure that you're not resorting back to your old ways of allowing yourself to settle for less, or diminish the boundaries that you need to set and have been working on setting. Yeah. There's these different kinds of energy exchanges that are coming up in this reading. We need to be mindful that, I think so often when we think of abundance, we think about all the wonderful abundance that we want to manifest. But we also create abundance that we don't want unconsciously, right? So when we are not setting boundaries in our lives and in the relationships in our lives, and we are allowing behaviors that don't serve us, because we're allowing those energy exchanges, we are creating abundance of those exchanges. So where energy goes, energy flows, essentially. So it's really important for us to be checking in on our potential inner eruptions this week, and also check in on our boundaries. I know that personally, for the past few days, I've been thinking about one specific relationship where it really became clear to me that I need to be setting boundaries. And so I often have just kind of felt these energies in advance prior to the collective. So I have a feeling like this may show up for some of you in this week to come. So just be mindful of your boundary setting. And remember that you don't necessarily owe anyone an explanation or reasoning. No in itself is enough. And yeah, just be really mindful of your energy this week. Again, mindfulness. What should we focus on healing? What should we focus on healing? this week? What should we focus on healing this week? Discernment. Okay. Yeah. Discernment. Again, that ties in directly with mindfulness. And, you know, discernment is one of my words for the year that I selected. Every new year, I just create this web graph of like words that I really want to be mindful of for the entire year, and discernment is one of them. So I want to look into the booklet for this. As spiritual, physical, and energetic beings, we often sometimes blur the lines between our energy, the energy of a situation, and the energy of another person. When we take on other people's energy and label it as our own, we start to judge. This lowers our energetic vibrations. We then get caught up in a seemingly never-ending cycle of feeling bad, labeling, justifying, and appropriating what is not ours to claim. The lesson here is to be present, not label or judge, and let the energy feeling wash through you. Once you do this, notice where in your body you feel the effects of the emotion. Does your heart open up? Does your belly hurt? Does your throat get tight? Your head can lie to you, but your body never does. That is a bar. It is easy to become overwhelmed. Make a habit of making your first response to overwhelming energy, wow, that's interesting, instead of what's wrong with me. So essentially being an observer of your thoughts rather than a believer of your thoughts. And again, as I mentioned earlier, this just seems like one of those weeks where it's important for us to take a step back, pause, and making sure that we are reflecting so we can respond to the occurrences of this week mindfully rather than immediately reacting, rather than erupting. Yeah, and just being very mindful of our energy and our limits. We all have limits, y'all, and we have to set them. And it's important to note that the people who truly value having you in their lives will respect you and your boundaries, and will maybe even want to communicate further with you to understand why it is that you're creating these boundaries, so they can understand you more deeply when you are ready to discuss that. So discernment, y'all, healing, being mindful of our energy, of our exchanges, because it is all cultivating and creating abundance in our lives. So be mindful that where energy flows, energy grows. So if you're flowing energy into a relationship that continues to cross boundaries and is making you settle for less in some way, then that energy is going to grow because energy is flowing there. What is our affirmation for this week? What is our affirmation for this week? What is our affirmation for the week to come? What is our affirmation for the week to come? What is our affirmation for the week to come? I'm willing to forgive. Okay, interesting. So it looks like energy exchanges and the relationships in our lives have kind of been the highlight of this reading. Forgiveness of myself and others releases me from the past. Forgiveness is the answer to almost every problem. Forgiveness is a gift to myself. I forgive and I set myself free. Something that I say is, if you find yourself unwilling to forgive someone else, then perhaps before you do that, focus on just forgiving yourself first. And I know that this reading kind of came off as like, oh my goodness, something's gonna happen this week that's gonna make me erupt, or like I need to set boundaries. Or perhaps some of you like immediately thought of one or a few relationships in your life that like, you either need to forgive, or you need to just be more like cautious about, or you just like really need to affirm your boundaries and set your limits. But I feel like this is really just a reading of encouragement for us to be mindful. This is one of those weeks where we need to remind ourselves just how powerful we are when it comes to manifesting things. So many people want to learn how to manifest, but the reality is that we are all manifestors. We are all literally manifesting every single day, all day of our lives. And the difference is that some of us manifest intentionally, and some of us manifest unintentionally, subconsciously, consciously. So we need to remind ourselves that we are already manifesting every single day of our lives. And the words that we speak, the relationships that we invest in, the environments that surround us, the thoughts that circulate our minds repeatedly, consistently, hold power. And we need to take control by being mindful, by being intentional, by asking ourselves why we're doing what we're doing, asking ourselves if our actions and habits and direction aligns with our higher selves, the person that we aspire to become. And like I feel like I mentioned in every reading, connecting with your intuition and strengthening your intuition is such a powerful tool that I really recommend you strengthening and investing in this year. Because as soon as you feel like you've really consciously tapped into your intuition and you've reached a point where you can trust yourself and your decisions just by listening to your gut, your life changes when you have that inner compass, inner guidance within you. And we all have access to that. It is within all of us. And like the booklet for this discernment card says, your mind may lie to you or deceive you, but your body never does. And our body is one way to directly connect to our intuition. Our body is always communicating with us and letting us know what's up. So be mindful of that. Be in tune with yourself and your energy. Make sure that you center yourself back to the awareness that everything that you give energy into is going to cultivate in your life. And tune into your body. Utilize your body to help you practice discernment, to help you understand where you're at, how things make you feel. One way to read energy in a room is to see how, as soon as you step into a room, how it affects your breathing. Do you feel more short breath? Do you feel like you can breathe more easily, like more deeply? So, y'all, this week ahead is going to be an opportunity for growth and awareness and mindfulness. So let's tap into that frequency and make sure that we are responding instead of reacting. So yeah, thank you all for watching this. I hope that one or all of these resonated with you. And if not, perhaps as you journey throughout the week, you're gonna think back on like, oh my gosh, this is a boundary that I need to set. Or like, oh my gosh, I just erupted like a volcano right now. And that's what came up in the energy reading. Like, I need to chill out, I need to set back. And often the reason why we reach the point of eruption is because we did not set limits that we need to set. So connecting the dots here, y'all. Thank you so much for watching. I am so grateful. Thank you, spirit, guides, angels, ancestors, for these messages and for this guidance. I'm so honored to receive it and to share it with you all. I'm wishing you all absolutely beautiful week ahead, a blessed week. Remember that everything is an opportunity. Everything that is before you is an opportunity to be better, to be more healed, to learn, to grow, to flourish, to be closer to your dreams, and to embody your higher self. So let's do that. I'm going to put timestamps in the description below to make this video more easy to navigate for you, should you want to revisit this video throughout the week and look at one specific card. And if you feel like this reading may be helpful or resourceful to a loved one in your life, go ahead and share it. Thank you so much, and I look forward to seeing you in my next video. Bye, y'all.